When he turned his back from shoulder to shoulder, it looked like as wide as the tailgate of a truck.
And just darkness, literal darkness, just came like all over, just all over me except where I was standing.
This thing let out the most blood-curdling, mind-blowing, spine-tingling scream that you've ever heard in your life, and it cut through me like a knife.
And I knew that they were going to take me. I just knew it. And then the next thing I can remember is being levitated.
Well, when I look in there, I see two big eyes staring back at me.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Bump Podcast, a place for the believers of the unexplained, monsters, and paranormal. Join us, and we'll go face to face with what goes bump in the night. Hey there, believers. I got a great episode for you today. This week, I'm bringing on Justin, and he emailed me through the website and let me know that he wanted to come on the show. Again, it's somebody that found out about the Bump Podcast through Sam Tripoli and Tinfoil Hat. So big thanks again to Sam and the guys for letting me come on there. It's been wonderful. It's been a great reception since then. But anyway, Justin emailed me. He wants to share his experiences that he was inspired to come on and talk about because of Sean from a couple of weeks ago. Like Sean, he's had some very similar experiences with this evil female entity at night, in his sleep. There's been a lot of fear, you know what I mean? He was just a little boy, and he was saying that she would do things to taunt him and stuff like that. And now that he's an adult, he still has encounters and experiences through the sleep paralysis state, but it's separate from sleep paralysis. He feels like it's almost an interdimensional kind of thing. So dreams and dimensions, right? We're going to get into it. We're going to see just what the spirit world and the dream world, how they interweave, and to try to figure this out. And another similarity here is Justin is also from Kentucky, just like Sean was at the time he was having his experiences. So maybe there's something about the area, something about Appalachia in general. We have a lot of guests on from there, and I'm right in the middle of Appalachia, so we'll get into it. He has some methods that he uses now to avoid getting in too deep into, some of these encounters. And I'll let him tell the story. Okay, so just give me 1 second and we'll bring Justin on.
All right. Well, hey, Bo. My name is Justin Renfro. I am from the western northern side of Kentucky. I'm 32 years old. I've got two kids, and I got one on the way. Got a wife, all that. I would say probably my first encounter with anything at all paranormal. Because I was I don't remember the exact age, probably between 6 and 8. I remember this because my parents had just recently divorced, and I was about 5 or 6 at that time. So all this probably happened around the same time, maybe a little bit after. So I always go with around 6 to 8 years old. So I've been raised in church my whole life. My mom said that whenever I was born, she heard God tell her, "Here's your son. How are you going to raise him?" So she took that as a very literal thing. She always had me in church from the time I can remember. It was always church every week. So even at a young age, as from being anywhere from 6 to 8 years old, I knew who God was, and I knew the whole story. And I also knew who Satan was and all that. So even at a young age, I was very well versed in the Bible and about all that. So during this time too, we had just started going to a new church. It was a local Baptist church. It was a kind of a large church. We had just really started getting involved with, like, I was doing a lot of stuff with the kids. My mom was doing a lot of stuff with, the young adult group. So we were very involved. And also during this time, my mom had started dating. She had started seeing some people. And so there was a lot of things going on in my life that I kind of contribute to this. Like, it could have been some trauma involved from my parents being divorced and all that. So I've tried to, like, rationalize it and say, okay, well, maybe this is why. But around this time, I started having these dreams. I don't really exactly remember the dreams, but I remember talking to my mom after the fact and telling her, like, about it. It's kind of hard to remember your dreams and like word for word, but I remember telling her that, well, first I remember being just terrified to go to sleep at night. I was just horrified. I'd cry, I'd fall asleep for a bit, and then I would wake up after having these dreams. But the main thing I remember about the dream was it was a female, and she like, at first she didn't look like you would think a demon would look. She just looked like a normal lady. But I could totally get the sense that she was evil, and she wasn't necessarily out to hurt me, but she was out to taunt me. Like, the main thing I remember is that she would laugh and, like, shove these crosses into my hands. And I don't know what the significance is of that, but that was the main thing I remember there about that dream.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
That is.
But after that, like I said, I had that dream for a few times, like, throughout that. It was, like I said, I don't know exactly the time frame, but it was a pretty long time that I had this same dream, and it was the same thing. I was afraid to go to sleep at night. I would have this dream. It was always this lady, and like I said, I remember her face and stuff, but that was the only thing I had at that point in my life. It was just that one dream. And then after a while, like, it just kind of stopped. I don't know why or how, and I didn't have anything else at all throughout until I was about 11 or 12, and that's whenever the second encounter happened. Yeah, I think it was about that time.
Yeah,
it's about 6 or 7 years later.
Wow.
I had this second encounter.
Now, this evil woman, did you recognize her at all? Like, did she look like anybody?
No, like I said, the only thing I remember is just seeing the face. Like, I don't know. It seemed like she was really large. She was larger than a normal woman would be. And I want to say she had brown hair. But no, I didn't know, like, who she was or anything like that.
And she's shoving these crosses into your hands.
Yeah.
Do you think that might have been like a challenge to your young faith or something?
It might have been. Possibly.
Because if you get the fear, the feeling that she's evil, then she's not handing you those crosses. That's trying to help you to stop her.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a challenge to me. And that's pretty scary stuff, man, especially at such a young age. That's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
All right. So what happened when you were 11 or 12?
Well, so just to give you a little pretext of what was going on in my life at this point. So I was about 11 or 12. My mom and dad had actually gotten remarried. So they were divorced at a young age.
Yeah.
Whenever I was young age, and at 12, they had remarried, and we had just moved into this new house. And it was kind of like a fresh start thing. Like, we had just moved, which we moved a lot. As a kid, my dad was in the Army, but we always stayed around in the same spots. Like, it was always in the same county, but we just moved around a lot. But so we just moved to this new house, it was kind of out of town. It was in like a rural part of the town, so we didn't really have a whole lot of people around us. I think we had a neighbor that was down the road, maybe like a half mile or so. So it was out in the woods kind of too. Um, so there wasn't a whole lot around. Well, so there was the first time I ever experienced any kind of sleep paralysis or any kind of like it was an entity sitting on my back. So it was, like I said, I was about 11 or 12 years old, and I remember this encounter a lot more than I did the first one.
Yeah.
Uh, um, it was in the middle of the night, and I didn't actually look to see what time it was that I'd woke up. I do remember that I had a TV and a VCR in my room, and the lights from the TV and the VCR were on, but that was all that was on in the room. There wasn't any kind of clock or anything like that. But whenever I woke up, I was asleep on my stomach, and this is something that's pretty common with all the other encounters that I've had later in life. I like hear this wind sound. It's like a loud sound, and the only way that I can explain it is like a wind. And it's like blowing in my ears. And but this was the first time that this had ever happened. So I'm trying to figure out what this sound is. And then all of a sudden I feel this, like I said, I hear this loud wind, and then I feel something like sit on my back. It doesn't make any sounds or anything, but I know it's there. Like I can feel it pressing me down into my bed. And I couldn't move, couldn't talk, couldn't do anything. And so I tried to scream and I couldn't. I tried to holler for my mom, I couldn't. So the only thing that I knew to do was just to pray. And as soon as I started to pray, it stopped. But that was probably the only time that I actually felt something like in my room. So being at that age, I researched like where I was at, and I didn't really know. I think the house that we lived in it was either haunted or maybe had some spirits there, or it was just a bad place, you know. But that was the first sleep paralysis, and I don't think it happened after that. It was only the one time there at that house. But we also had an encounter that involved my mom and sister as well, and I'd actually forgotten about this, and I was talking to my mom about it, and she started telling me a little bit about it. But it was a time that my dad was gone. He, like I said, he was in the Army, so there were weekends or weeks throughout the year that he would have to leave for a week or two to go to another base in another state, that kind of thing. So I remember it was the middle of the night. Like I said, I don't remember what time it was again, but my mom woke me and my sister up, and she was really convinced that there was somebody or something outside the house, because we also had hunting dogs at the time, and they were just going crazy. And one of our dogs had gotten out, and you could hear him running around the house. He was after something or somebody. So she came into our rooms and woke us up, and we had like army crawled back to her room and just kind of camped out there the night, you know. Yeah. So like I said, that she was really convinced that it was somebody, but me, knowing that I'd had that encounter a couple of weeks before, I've always thought that it was something that was outside that, you know, our dogs could sense, because there wasn't anybody really close by that could have, you know, came around the house, and I don't even know why they would. It was so far out there, you know.
Right. Yeah, that'd be scary too, man. And this thing's sitting on your back.
Mm-hmm.
And you had never had sleep paralysis or anything like that before?
No, this was the first time.
Yeah, and it felt more like, because you've had sleep paralysis since. Did this first experience, did it feel like sleep paralysis, or did it feel like something more physical than that?
It felt more. It felt like sleep paralysis. It was like I said, the whole wind sound is a common thing with me. Mm-hmm. And like a body vibration is also a very common thing with all the ones that I have. But as far as something sitting on my back and like pressing me down into the bed, it felt like a physical thing, you know, like, wow. I don't know if it was so much like a physical person, but it felt like a spiritual thing, like something was, you know,
Yeah.
holding me down. And then once I started to pray, it stopped, you know.
You know, that's the common theme, ain't it? It seems like for everybody that actually takes that step to do that, once they pray, it stops.
Yep.
So that
Every
says
time.
something about sleep paralysis. To me, yeah, to me, it
Mhm.
says that there's a spiritual connection to this stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Man, why do you think they come at you in your sleep? You think it's because our defenses are down?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like whenever we're asleep and we dream, it almost feels like we go somewhere else, you know.
Mhm.
Whether we can tap into the spirit world there, or whether we hit another dimension, or there's so many things it could be. But yeah, I feel like our sleep is whenever our defenses are down, you know, the most, and our guards down. And
Yeah.
I think that's probably why they always come in our sleep.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. That's one thing I can make of it. Thank God I've never had sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
I'd probably want to move or something if I did, but that's why I have to ask these details, man, because I don't know. You know, I've never experienced that. You know, I appreciate you telling me.
That's
All
no
right,
problem.
I'll shut up. Tell me what else.
No, you're good. Past that, I didn't really have anything that I know of since then. Like that was, like I said, I was 12 years old then, or 12 or 11 or 12 at that time.
Yeah.
I don't really know, or I don't remember anything else that has happened past them. You know, I grew up from like 12 years old to about 26, 27 is whenever some of the encounters started again. And at this point, I don't know if I would really call it encounters. It's more just dream state, and you know, dreams I've had, um, and things that have. It's kind of like sleep paralysis, but it doesn't. There isn't the entity attached to it. Like I don't feel anything around me.
Yeah.
It's just it's like the start of the sleep paralysis. I guess it would be. That's 2017 is whenever I noticed it started to come back again. And it was kind of the same thing. Yeah, it was about 5 years ago. It's kind of the same thing. You know, I could hear the wind sound. I could kind of feel like a vibration in my body. I don't really know. That's like the best way that I can explain it.
Yeah.
And then I'd kind of feel like I was stuck, like I couldn't move, couldn't talk. But then I would always kind of wake myself up out of it. Like it would start to, it's like it would it would start, and then I would know it was about to start. So I would wake myself up out of it. And that happens to this day too. Like I'll kind of feel it. Like it's almost like I know when it's about to happen. It'll start, and then like my wife will wake me up or something, or you know, it's always like she'll calm me down now, but back then, I can't explain it. It's so weird, but like I said, it starts, and I know it's about to start, and then just wake myself up out of it, and we're good to go. And it's almost like it's like right before I fall asleep. You know, it's like right before I fall into that deep sleep. It'll start.
Well, I think you're doing a good job explaining it. You know, you feel a vibration in your body. You get that wind hum kind of noise in your ears. You know, I'm no kind of Reiki or expert on, you know, vibration and stuff like that and frequency, but it sounds like your body is, you know, getting to some frequency or some vibrational level, and you can feel it, like you're just in tune with yourself or something. And maybe once you hit that certain resonance, that's when these things happen. Maybe you're into it. Maybe you are like projecting into another dimension or something, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
I got a couple of friends that I know they're going to listen to this show. Dennis and Ashley. They are experts. Dennis has been, you know, doing astral projection and out of body experiences for a couple of decades, probably longer than that. So he's going to hear this and he's going to give me some information to share with you. I know that's going to happen.
Awesome.
You know,
yeah,
man alive. That's
like I've kind of felt like that before too. Like maybe if I just let it take its place, then maybe I can astral project out of my body or something, you know. But
Yeah.
it always scares me so much that I always make it stop right before it starts. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, oh, can't do this.
Yeah.
But
Well, man, did you have any other experiences as a kid that might have opened yourself up to this? You know,
no, that's really the main thing I can remember. Like I said, that initial experience as a kid.
yeah,
And I wish I could remember more about it, but like I said, it was so long ago, and I just remember more so. I remembered like what I told my mom about it, not so much the dream itself, other than the face. Like I remembered the lady's face,
right.
and then you know that sleep paralysis at 11 or 12 around that area. Those are like the only two that I could really recall. Or I mean, if I did, then I would have had, you know, it might not have been as traumatic as those two,
Right.
but those are the main two things that I can recall
Mm.
as far as that goes.
You know, and it's weird the parallels between, you know, what happened with you and what happened with Sean. You know, that I had on the
Exactly.
show.
Hmm.
Even being in the same, you know, general area of Kentucky.
Yep.
You know, you said in your email, you know, what's going on around here between
Exactly.
Kentucky and West Virginia, and you know, just Appalachia.
Hmm.
There are so many stories, man. Have you? Speaking of Kentucky, this
Mhm.
is in the southeastern corner of Kentucky, but have you seen the series Hell Year?
Oh yeah.
Have you?
Yes. Hmm. Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, I watched it when it came out, I guess. But yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that really got my attention because I'm within a couple
Mhm.
hours drive of that place, probably like an hour and a half. I could be in there.
Yep.
And yeah, it's crazy, but there's just so much that goes on around
Mhm.
here.
Yeah, I know it is. And I spent a lot of time researching too. Like after I watched that show, I was like, that's on, you know, that's a couple hours away from me. You know, I'm on the western side of the state, but still, I mean, that's so close to me. Like I started to look up like if anything like that has happened around where I live, like if there's any caves or anything. But
Right.
it seems like it's located more toward the eastern side of the state. I didn't find anything, you know, here, but yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah, it is. It is. I recommend it to anybody. If anybody listening to this hasn't seen it,
For sure.
then they're missing out. Well, Justin, is there anything else that you wanted to get into today, man?
Well, I did have like two dreams that I wanted to talk to you about.
Yes, absolutely.
So I started having some dreams, and I would like write them down as much as I could. Most of the time, like most of the time, I dream, and then I don't remember it, or I don't write it down in time, so I don't remember anything about it. But I have two that after I had first talked to you about doing this, I went back through my note app, and I was like, oh, holy crap! So one of the dreams I had was it was December 22nd, 2019, and I wrote it down in my note app so it keeps the date on it. So at this current time in my life, I was kind of down. I was in a not really a bad place, but I was just kind of down. I had to move back in with my mom and dad for a while. I lost my house, so I was really I was doing a lot of praying and, you know, asking God to show me a purpose or show me why I'm here. And I had this dream, and and I'm just going to read you exactly what I wrote down because
Yeah.
it's only a few lines, but it says, last night's dream. In the dream, I kept repeating, if I proclaim it, it'll happen. I felt a surge of power and peace throughout my body and was able to expel all negative and evil from my surroundings and the peace I felt from it all. That's just what I wrote down. I don't remember the dream
Right.
per se, but I remember that it must have been that was just at a time in my life whenever I was crying out to God for an answer, you know, like show me something, show me anything at all, you know.
Yes, sir. And you felt the peace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
felt the peace from it.
I love it. I love that.
And then this next one was kind of close. It was January 17th, 2020. This one, I don't really know what to make of it. It seems a little more wild. All right. So it was I was in a classroom and a teacher was teaching a history of Moses and the tablets that is not in the Bible. I don't remember what she was saying, but then she was also teaching kids that we are our own gods. It was located at some sort of camp, like a kids camp, similar to like a youth camp. Because I grew up going to youth camps, you know, so I've been there a lot. But there was like healings and stuff, and everybody at the camp seemed to be blinded by something or somebody. But there were people there that could see, and like there was like a veil that had been lifted from my eyes, and then it switched to like so from that camp, like I was in this camp, then the dream switched to like a movement of people. It was just like a large group of people, and they were following one guy. They were just like, it wasn't really in a desert, but it was just like in a field, and there was like hundreds and hundreds, I don't even know, just people everywhere, and they were like walking right behind this one guy. So I've been really trying to research what that dream means, because like I said, I'd forgotten about it. I forgot that I'd even wrote that down in my note tab, you know. So I was like, what does that mean? So I've been reading through it. But, it seems like,
what have you come to? What kind of conclusion have you come to?
I don't know, man. It seems more like a vision, or maybe of what's going to come, you know, because from the times we live in now, I don't want to say we're in the end times, but sometimes it seems like it to me, you know. I mean, it seems like we're almost there. So
it does, I mean, there's a lot of signs going on, right?
Yep, for sure.
Wars and rumors of wars and pestilence, and people doing great wonders, and people putting their faith in the wrong places.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So you think in this dream that you were seeing, you know, everybody following this one guy? Was that one guy Jesus, or was that one guy a false prophet? Or
it seemed like he was false, because like from the start of the dream, being at this youth camp, and then going from that, it was almost like he was a false prophet, you know.
Yeah,
it seems like the way the dream was going from there. That's the only thing I can make of it.
Yeah, might be something for us to watch out for, you know.
Yeah, for sure,
because these things happen. There's great deceptions in this world.
Definitely,
man. Well, yeah, I'm interested to get some feedback from all this. You know, I want to hear what people have to say. Definitely,
for sure.
And yeah, I'm calling out Dennis and Ashley. I know that they'll have something to say about, you know, the sleep paralysis and that stuff. So I'll definitely get back to you on that one. And if anybody can analyze these dreams, you know, that would be a major help. I'd like to be able to relay some messages to you, if that's okay with you.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because like I said, I just write them down as they come. I mean, if I remember to. So as far as what they mean, I don't really have a whole lot to go with, you know, other than just what I write down. Because like I said, it's so hard to remember a dream. Like I might remember a piece of it or something. So if I don't write it down, then it's just lost, you know.
Yeah.
Because I've had a lot more dreams that might have been more revealing than this that I just didn't write down. So now they're lost, you know, forever. But yeah, I would love to hear if anybody has any feedback on it. Just like the same way whenever I listened to Sean, I was like, because I'm not one to, you know, I would never want to like do a podcast or talk to anybody. But then I heard Sean, and he had like a similar story and dream and encounter, and being so close to me, I was like, dude, I got to reach out to Bo and see what's up, you know.
I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you did, man. I appreciate you, Justin. It's wild that I was getting my emails mixed up here, because I have you and I have another Justin tomorrow night, and I was getting my stories mixed up, so I had to go through that. I reread everything.
Yeah,
but, man, I'm so glad that you reached out to me, and we'll try to get some help to you, man, to get some kind of answers, or at least some guidance as to what this stuff all means.
For sure.
I love how, yet again, when somebody has sleep paralysis or they're having some kind of attack, they pray, and in the name of Jesus, it stops.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, you know, there's a lot of lot of spiritual attacks going on around me the last few months, and
Yeah.
I want more stories like this just to rub it in the face of the adversary, because
Right.
it's fruitless for them. But I love it, man. It just restores my faith even more every time I hear it.
Awesome.
Well, man, if there's nothing else you want to go over or whatever, I'll let you get ready for work, and we'll have this episode out in probably about 2 weeks' time.
All right, man. Sounds
All right.
good.
All right. Thank you so much, Justin. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.